members of Maui County Council, and my dear Maui residents. My name is June Lee Brown, and I'm a resident of Lahaina in the Kahana area. And I'm proud to say that all 4 of our children are Lahaina Luna graduates, and then some. Our business shut down last month, and our employees lost their homes. So this issue of recovery and resiliency is very important to me. Thank you for this chance to share my ideas about how to rebuild, how to move forward. First, I believe there have been so many ideas here. I've been here all day. You guys have a lot of work to do. Anyway, I just wanted to add that. But moving forward, first, I believe that we should plan the restoration of Lahaina around a new town center that consists of a memorial, a museum, a cultural center, a park, and a playground. Alongside our memorial site, we should construct a museum that preserves the rich history and culture of our town. If done properly, this could become a major destination on the island for visitors and locals alike. I feel that a public gathering space, a park, and a playground designed around culturally relevant themes would also be a great benefit to the community. We must always remember that we do this work in service for future generations. Next, I propose that we reclaim the ocean front as green space. If we push back redevelopment by 500 feet from Baker Street to Shaw, we could create an area roughly equivalent in the size of Ala Moana Beach Park. The continued prosperity of Ala Moana Shopping Center shows that increased distance from the ocean can support successful commercial activity. This move will also mitigate the effects of the expected incoming sea level rise. Whether it becomes a county, state, or national park, I believe it is of critical importance to preserve this area as green space. This is perhaps the only chance we will get to convert this land into a public area that everyone will be able to enjoy. And further, I suggest that we rebuild Lahaina as a pedestrian-first town. There are many benefits to this approach: a stronger sense of community, improved physical and mental health outcomes, increased safety for pedestrians and cyclists, higher retail revenues from increased foot traffic, and of course, reduced motor vehicle emissions. Rebuilding Lahaina first for pedestrians and second for low-speed electric vehicles. That would also meet several health and sustainability goals set by Maui County and the state of Hawaii. Several major tourist destinations already have successful car-free mandates. Yes, okay. I also have the QR code to that 6-page testimony, and it has a bibliography of all the references of the cities alive, other car-free areas, the other resources that have EV, micro-mobility businesses. Anyways, it's really extensive.
Aloha, my name is Dan Brown. My wife already covered it. My 4 children grew up in this town. I've lived the last 41 years of my life in Lahaina, most of it in Lahaina town. 3 of the first 4 places I lived were lost in this fire. My business was impacted. I'm blessed I didn't lose everything, but my employees did. And I have no employees now because they've all been dislocated to the other side of the island. Seems minor to me compared to the great losses. And my sympathy to all who lost loved ones and possessions and all of us for the trauma we've suffered. Whether you live in Lahaina or not, it's affected all of us, I believe. It seems premature to talk about what I'm talking about, but it is on the resiliency and the planning. I testified at the last meeting, and I went out and I did do what I said. I talked to a contractor, I talked to some other people in the business, and really thought about what do we need from the council on the planning side. And you mentioned as a council that when you questioned me that you are working on having some boilerplate, some pre-approved plans that could move things forward for people. And I realized that's a wonderful idea, but then I started thinking in the houses I've lived in and the places I've been that we don't match the mainland model of a house, right? We have a house, we got tutu here, we got daughter and granddaughter over here, and we've got these multi-family, multi-generational homes. You're not going to get that plan from somewhere on the mainland, right? And I think that we really need to have community input when we go to rebuild Lahaina, because everybody knows what those houses were like. If you've lived in them or you've visited them, they weren't just a 3-bedroom house with 1 bathroom or whatever. It doesn't look like that. And to try to force people back into that colonial model or whatever you want to call it, that's not us. And we need to really look at, hey, can we have 4 things connected together by a breezeway and have that approved, right? So that people can live good lives in their houses instead of being stuffed where they were. And, variances for the density, because we all know some of those houses had way more people than what it looks like on the county tax map key. And we're going to have, you have maybe 1,800 homes, right? We're lost. That's not 1,800 families. That's probably 3 times that number. And when we make our planning, we really got to look at that as we do it. The other one that was suggested to me from someone with some expertise in gathering information, and I'm always concerned, like this morning, I really felt that the community was here. And like someone said, when people get back to work, I won't be able to be here. Other people won't be able to be here. But we also have communities that there are fewer of them that, we know who's missing. I only saw a few of the Japanese community here. I haven't seen a representative Filipino population. And to have caucuses that are separate from this for people to give their ideas, and to have someone, the county maybe provide a facilitator who could take notes and do it, but to provide an opportunity in a hotel ballroom or even a beach park.
3 minutes.
How we're gonna hear the voices we're not hearing, because we're hearing the motivated people who don't have to work today are here, but a lot of people are missing out on giving their input, and we need everybody to help rebuild this. Thank you.
Aloha. Hi. My name is Keisha Joy, Maui resident for about 20 years, and water protector, Kia'i. Good to see so many of you here that I have worked with before. I would like to find out about this meeting tomorrow. It was mentioned earlier. It's hard to keep track of. I want to be able to speak as much as possible and to share with the community as much as possible on the upcoming. So I would love to know more about that. I would love to know if there's a way to find out what your ideas are and how we could engage in speaking, together in that and hearing what your thoughts are. And how we could be helpful to you guys as well. This is a huge job that you're all tasked with, actually, and the world is watching. Everybody's watching, and we want to help you as much as you want to help us. And so how can we do that? I also wanted to speak about in 2011, we had like a big tsunami issue. I was living here, and I happened to be in Kihei. We had plenty of warning. We had, 6 hours for that wave that was going to hit at 3 a.m. And I just remember the sirens that went off over and over again, warning us. And I remember an intercom where voices could come over that siren and say, please evacuate, you have a tsunami coming. Is there a capability for someone to come on the sirens to speak? And why didn't that happen? To come on and say, okay, we have a fire. It's not a tsunami, it's a fire. So get out. I just wanted to bring that up because I just remember that from the last tsunami issue. I definitely want to restore the water. I stand for the water. Mokuhina and Moku'ula is, I think, one of the more inspiring things that we could restore really on our planet, one of the most sacred places. And so if we could focus on that, you're going to uplift your community big time if that can be happening very fast. And even showing that that's an intention that could happen. I don't even know how 75% of our water got to be privately owned. I just don't understand. That's
Can't own water.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
It's for everybody.
It's for everybody. I don't know how this happened, but this disaster has happened to wake us up. We're all awake. We are raw. We are feeling everything. We are feeling our tears. We are feeling each other, and we get to do this as a community together. Also, I was in the Restore Habitat for Humanity store recently, and I asked
3 minutes.
if they were going to help rebuild, and they said, oh my gosh, when the time is ready, they have hundreds of people ready to volunteer, and that just made me just fall in tears. So I hope the permits go there's no permitting fee, and that things can go swiftly, and no, there's a huge, beautiful group, massive amount of people that are ready. I love the volunteer firefighters idea. And lastly, there needs to be a healing and wellness center here in Lahaina for the people to recover, their emotional, their mental, their physical. I do warm water aquatic therapy, and I want to offer anyone who is having some PTSD to come in the warm water, and I'm giving free sessions. Unfortunately, the only warm water pool I have is in Haiku, but I would love to offer that to those who really need it. So listen to the indigenous wisdom. They're holding the keys in their bones to the
4
future.
minutes. Well, next testifier is Hailey Shim.
Hello, my kako. First, my thoughts and prayers goes out to each and everyone, his family who's lost and seeking, who's mourning through all this. And so I'm a graduate of Lahaina High School / Jackson High. I'm a great grandson of Alice Kunani Banum, who was the maitre d' of Lahaina back in early 1900s to mid 1900s. She was also the composer of the song Yonder Lahaina Mountains. From Kakuloa, Honokohau, Punalau, Honolua, Napili, and now we reside in Lahaina. My indigenous tribe of people had lived in simplicity for thousands of years, and I hope that our no and planning department of the people who makes these decisions, plans for building, starts to trust in the process of Akua and the people. I pray and ask that God grant us more time to change. Planning, communication, organization, execution, and belief is what I look at today. When I saw Wai'ula Church, as I was watching it burn down, former Wai'ne'e Church, changed to Wai'ula Church. That is where all my ancestors are laid to rest today. And
Aloha mai kako wau no kalena shim. Noho mai au ma punalau, kupa o Lahaina. First thing, forgive me if I'm a little jittery. My dad decided we're gonna talk halfway through, everybody gonna testify, so kind of winging it right now. But I think my most immediate need for this meeting is to postpone the opening, of October 8th. The tourists not our priority. Yeah. The ability of our people should be priority. Yeah. Keeping everybody in Lahaina and safe. Long term. One other big thing is water. We all know, vice is life. Return the water to the right place. Moving forward with rebuilding, there's two different type of greens in this situation, I believe. Actually, there's three. Josh Green, get Money Green, and then get Aina Green. Yeah. My question to you guys is, which one you believe in? Which one you gonna stand up for? Which one you gonna fight for? Yeah. Which one you guys like Yomo Opuna grew up to love, embrace, and cherish? Because my ancestors before me, I believe they lived through me. My father, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, my great-grandmother who fought for water rights in Honokohau. Yeah. We in this all together, but this is just the start. Yeah, and we're not gonna go nowhere.
Aloha. My name is Lori Leijigama. I lost my home at 534 Lahaina Luna Road with my uncle who I caregave for over 20 years in it to the fire. I am born and raised here. It's amazing that there is this much people who have made it There was no warning. There was no cell phone service, hence the importance of sounding the alarms which were silent that day. It was survival made for all of us, or mode for all of us. Everyone has a story. Most of the stories are traumatic and their story of trying to escape. Many didn't make it because there was no access or alternative routes. They got stuck on Front Street or behind Mill Camp. There would have been more fatalities if the already Old Cane Road gates were not broken and made accessible. I want to know the count on how many remains were found, not the count on the people missing. If you know Lahaina, we all know everything going on in Lahaina, and that 100 count is not the whole truth, only part of the truth. The fire 5 years ago should have wiped out Lahaina. But luckily the wind stopped when the fire came up to Lahaina Luna Road. 4 houses by my house burned. My house was spared. Why? Because there was a county truck parked right in our driveway watering my house. We need more trucks that hold water and can shoot water. Forget the hydrants. They were empty once again, they say because there was no water pressure. Nothing was learned from the fire 5 years ago. We had to lose homes, family, and a town to be seen. This is my 3rd fire where I live. 5 years ago, and the fire on the mountain, and then this last one. My daughter is afraid to live at our home again. I don't blame her. How do we tell our kids it's safe to rebuild and be there when we as parents know if nothing is changed, it won't be safe? She wants to make sure we stay and she can go to Lahaina Luna. She got that Luna spirit already. We have to do better and protect the future of our Lahaina.
Aloha, my name is Naki Aweawe Kanekoa. I am not from Lahaina. I am born and raised on the continent. I'm what we call a diaspora Hawaiian. Okay. That being said, I have been privileged to be close to this community for over 11 years working at the Feast at Lele. And that being said, I've had a lot of different opportunities to talk about the tourism industry and the amount of extraction that it causes. That is one point, okay? Waste is the major issue. For Indigenous people, this kind of catastrophe hits home so much harder, okay? Being Kanaka Maoli, our ways would have prevented all of these things. So the first thing that we said, moku'ula, mokuhinia, kiawahine. That's why these things were kept sacred, yeah, above the wants and needs of men, women. Only for the needs of the keiki, right? So the waste is what you folks are so exposed to on every level because you are between us and the higher ups. You are our konhiki, right? You guys are the ones who look out for us. You guys witness the waste, the water, the waste money, the wasted land. Yeah. That is what we need you. We, I say, Lahaina especially, need you to keep track and be really accountable, yeah, for that waste. Because when we turn that around, then we have more water, we have more land, we have more money. And it's not just for Councilmember Halton, who's doing the work here in Lahaina. It's you folks when you go back to your districts, back to your people, and remind them what we're doing. We're pivoting, right? Just like we did in COVID. We could do it again. There's this thing I learned called Lahaina Strong. Yeah, and I got to witness that very closely. 2018, I was there. I got stuck here. Yeah, and my folks live here in Hawaiian homes. I saw some of the neighbors here. This community has raised up like no one else, and the world is watching. You folks have the opportunity to change the game at the level of Konohiki. And then you push on the LEE, those higher ups. And I'm talking Indigenous because this is the plan, you guys. That is what Lahaina Strong has always been. Starting on Indigenous, but we welcome all the other communities. Why? Because that's what makes us strong. So, trying to come back to point, I
3
appreciate
minutes.
you guys for being here. I really do. I know that it's not easy to take criticism. But I want to remind you guys, these people in Lahaina are world famous, okay? The world comes to Lahaina. They come to see us. They come to see them. So the world is watching. They all have a little place in their heart for Lahaina and Maui and us as Kanaka. You see these leaders here rising up. Some of them have always been leaders like Kaumoku. Some of them haven't. Some of these younger guys are rising up. Some of the younger women are rising up. You know, and that is who you need to support. Support these leaders who are coming up. Push on your higher ups. And I know it's just being redundant, but I want to pinpoint the waste. We're talking about waste of water, waste of money, waste of aina. And it all comes back to indigenous systems. We don't waste nothing.
Okay.
My
Andrew.
name is Kaipoke Kwana. You guys heard a lot of what is the dire need today and now, and I support all of that and can get behind it, like the opening of the 8th and the need for housing and stability and all of that stuff. Super high priority immediately right now. Concepts, understanding why the council is here and the capacity of the council. I will do my best to speak to those limits. And we hear everyone speak of the water and moku'ula, mokuhinia. Understand, coming from a stance advocating for that system for over 20 years now, it is very enlightening to see our community be familiar with just its name. A deep understanding and concept of its significance to the ecology and environment of our wahi, what made it unique to our location, why our location was named Kingdom Capital by our ali'i, speaks for itself. Knowing that water was a bigger issue for Mokuhinia, I am a part of Na'aikaneo Maui Cultural Center. Mokuhinia, speaking to that subject, is roughly in the size of 10 acres in its original footprint. Today, some housing are in there. I'm pretty sure those are gone. I'm not saying that they have to be relocated. Salvation Army was within the site. That is gone, may need to be relocated. 505 Shops was in the site. So these things I'm painting out so that we understand what it looks like in the capacity of rebuilding this structure that was instrumental to the success of Kamalu'ulo'olele. When you want to speak to Kamalu'ulo'olele, you have to identify the intricate parts that made that successful, and knowing the timeline of that establishment in order to get us there today and the resources we have available are intricate parts that you as a council have a very influential piece in making it possible. Water was a limit. Na'aikaneo Maui had applied for the water use application through the state process for Mokuhinia. If you understand the OI system that is today present alongside Mokuhinia that exits out next to Camp 3rd,
3 minutes.
the only time you see that full of water is when it rains. Other than that, it was always set at 8 inches. Well systems that were reestablished recently had brought that water system down to 0. Today, if you get a chance, I don't really recommend it, but you go and look at that canal today and it's filled, and there's no reason to fill it because there hasn't been any rain. So that lack of demand for water that our town currently had and ran and maintained, that is no longer being used, is showing itself in springs in the punawai of our community, of our wahi. If our rebuild isn't 3 years away, we'll start to see more of those punawai of our kupuna present again. 505 Shops is a perfect example as well. Their basement level always floods after 2 hours of the pump system not running there. That's what exits out into the kai in front of Lele.
4
of
minutes.
Lele. Those things are intricate parts that you need to keep an eye on. And then understanding, if we look at climate change, which I believe was instrumental to the fire systems as well. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone else. Knowing that those systems in place that are no longer there, that will be impacted by sea level rise, are things that we can consider as far as water demand. I'm just talking about water today. There's a lot more that we can talk on. I would like you guys to develop, I'm already out of time. I'd like you guys to develop policies that regulate buildings going forward to be required to implement native foliage. Doesn't have to be native. Can be mangoes, can be moringa, can be all of that jams that we love in our community anyway, and we embrace for years, decades. Incorporate those into some policy specifically for Lahaina, so we don't have to go and say that we're canvassing this for the county of Maui, but we can address Lahaina specifically. Look at policies that would provide green energy, requirements in that, subsidized by the government funds.
In your testimony, is the point that you're trying to make is that when we are calling for the restoration of certain things such as malu'ulu olele, mokuhinia, moku'ula, that the current footprint would need to be redesigned in order for that restoration to happen? So when people are saying that it's kind of assumed and included in that, in their testimony, if to understand fully what individuals are saying when they testify.
Absolutely. For context, water use designations will need to be adjusted in order to re-establish the original footprint of Kamalu'ulu Olele. We will not be able to allow certain activities to take place within our watershed. Some of those hotels that were housed within the burn zone of Lahaina are no longer present. I have families that raise their kids off of working in those hotels, so it probably is a sensitive subject there. Nonetheless, those things have drawn numerous amounts of water. And if there was ever a time where we could speak to the proper allocation and use of water, this is that time. And maybe those hotels and larger consuming entities of our resource may be reconsidered as we move forward in developing our town. I'm not speaking that this is like written in stone, so nobody attack me when I walk off the mic, but we may have to consider some of those things, and those allocations would then be available for efforts like the restoration of Mokuhinia. Because if we're going to move forward currently right now with our status and try to get Mokuhinia reestablished, this has been an effort in the making for a long time. There's reasons why it hasn't established itself yet. So we need to find the best situations that we currently have to make those things possible. Maybe the wharf becomes Naikaneo Maui Cultural Center in the future. Who knows? But that would limit some of the water allocations that was consumed there. Just thinking outside the box.
The restoration of local Mokuhinia, what that looks like in physical form.
Well, Mokuhinia is what is identified in our culture and tradition as a kuapa. It's an inland fish pond. Inland fish ponds are not commonly spoken towards today in our society, in our infrastructure. It's because it requires an abundance of fresh water. It's different than an ocean fish pond, right? The local i'a that we are commonly speaking to today was consisting of different fish because they lived predominantly off of a higher salt context. Kuapa are inland ponds, predominantly more consistent with freshwater. And so it gives you different ecosystems, which provide different algae blooms, which spawn different fish. So when you look at that, and you understand studies today are being done around the state with kuapa and local i'a that have already identified the impacts, the positive impacts that it makes on multiple different levels. Runoff systems, water quality, fish populations, our estuaries are replenishing. The longshore fishermen are finding the pelagic fish closer to shorelines where these fish systems are established. Our kupuna didn't live the fabulous dream life that many of us foresee. We've come to places in time where we were responsible for the depletion of natural existing resources, but we were quick to identify our error and adjust to the environment based on our consumption. These are the intricate parts that we miss today. People speak of ahupua'a constantly, throw that out there way too easily in the name of developments most often, and maybe some environmental studies. But they miss all the intricate parts that made ahupua'a successful. Loko i'a and kuopa'a were the kidneys and livers of our ecology. And those are instrumental in moving forward, whatever you want to talk about, food security, tourist industry, you want to move into climate smart changes. Those are all going to be one big grab of a success in reestablishing the footprints of our kupuna. Kauika meheo na kupuna, walk the footsteps of your ancestors. They're there for a reason.
The next testifier is Jackie Sinensi.
Kako, thank you for having me. And, all the families, they're lost in homes and family members. My knee. I am blessed to be residing in one of the most important Vahipanas in Lahaina. And this Vahipana is so special that as a little girl, I used to go visit my friend and stay over for weekends, you know. And I find out that her dad is Uncle Sam Kai. And then I go away and live my life, and I come back. And I'm blessed of being able to live there permanently if I wanted to. I learned a lot. I lived there for like 7 years, and learning that Honokau Valley supplies Lahaina all the way out to maybe even Lani Poko with water is just, wow, this resource it comes from this valley. How much more special can this be? What hurts me is there are times where we're out in the yard and I'll take a shower, and I grab my handle with the hot water and the cold water, and nothing's coming out. And I'm going, how can this be? The water coming from this valley and we don't have water? What's going on? But for some reason, we don't have any notice from the department. You know, when this thing happened on the 8th, August 4th, Honokau Valley had no water service. There was no water. We thought maybe there was a leak or something, but no notice from the water department as to why we don't have water. So it's like, okay, well, I guess we need more water. And it's been going on for the 7 years I've been living there. So I've tracked every day until we get water. It's not until about maybe a week and a half ago, we got water back. We asked around the neighbors, hey, you know, what's going on with the water? And the our Awai system just tends to just dry up.
3 minutes.
One day it's running, the next day it's bone dry. And I'll go and I'll look at the stream, and I'm going, wait, water department says there should be like at least 9 million gallons of flow in this stream. It's not even maybe 3 or 4 inches up from the bottom of the river. And it's like, why do we have if we suffering like this, how's Lahaina? How is Lahaina? And then yet we have tourists going and swimming in their pools and their jacuzzis and, you know, just water features and everything. And it's like, you know what? Cut all that stuff off. They get the ocean that they can swim in. They don't need the swimming pools. It upsets me because
4 minutes.
I am from Lahaina. I'm an 88 grad from Lahaina Luna. a lot of pride. I have lineal descent. My great-grandmother is a Kukahiko. Kahu John Mahele, Kukahiko from Loyola Church, his family. And it's like, after when we found out, it took us a day and a half to find out what happened to Lahaina because we wasn't aware of no cell service, no electric, no nothing, because we live off the grid. But what about all these people? Until we actually drove the car out and realized Kapalua was like both sides of the highway with cars and people trying to get connection. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I cannot believe this. One of our nephews came over to borrow gas so he could go backside Kakuloa way to go get supplies. And I'm like, why you need, and he's like, well, Auntie, Lahaina's gone. And I thought to myself, I cannot picture that. I cannot picture this. Until we went Friday, we just went for a drive, and by the time we reached by the cannery, we had to turn around because the roadblocks was still there. And I thought, oh my God, my classmates, my friends, my family, how are they doing? My nephew lives up Lahaina Luna. Until I see everything on the cell phone as far as whatever, I mean, not cell phone, but after the fact. Friday, I pull up at Napili Market, and there's this guy, and he just looks so lost. So I kind of stopped, like, brother, you okay? You need help or anything? And he's like, I just like off this island. I just want to go back to Big Island and forget it. And I said, why? He said, because I live right there, Lahaina Luna Road. I never even have a chance to grab anything. It was just like this. And he looked beat. He really looked beat. And I said, is there anything I can help you with? And he said, I'm just waiting for a jump from my friend so he can go to the airport.
Auntie, can you take the next 30 seconds and wrap up?
Yeah.
Thank you.
My thing is, the vision I've seen is our capital needs to be returned to where it's rightfully placed, and it's Mukula, Mokuihina, Maulele. It needs to be brought back. I stand here today before you folks. Thank you for your time, and thank you for letting us voice ourselves. But yeah, it's going to take some years, but we're strong and we'll get through this. We'll get through this. We got the mana, so.
The next testifier is June in accord.
Mahalo Noe for coming out here and respecting Tamara and Tamara. Mahalo. All you guys for showing up. I told you guys come over here. You guys did. Mahalo. Shoots. Yeah, me nice, Auntie. But again, I'm going back to, I don't want to kind of long story because I'm going to be here forever. But Lahaina first, 2 years after. Yeah, we said that during COVID. Did we learn anything about COVID? How are we going to reopen? Yeah, you guys didn't rush. You guys didn't shove them down our throat, the government. We got slammed here in Lahaina. All kind of angles, this and that. So, this October 8th, no good. No good. And I don't care. The thing just, no open them at October 8th because we're going to get some scraps, guarantee. Not joking. We're going to get some scraps because people who work in the hotel industry, bartenders, like that, said, I don't can serve somebody when I'm so pissed off at them for coming. Yeah? So, we'll get that kind. That's just one of the stories. Since I tell the whole story, it's going to be a long time. Yeah? So, that was one. The mayor had Friday meeting over here in Lahaina about the new Lahaina group. Yeah? We had zero communication to the people that was talking. But we had to listen. We did listen all night. We had no communication that way. Zero. Okay, that's the one in Lahaina. But then I heard a meeting on Sunday on the other side. They had communication. They will listen to the people going that way. Why did I do that to us guys in Lahaina? We got zero. Yeah, that's the kind of disrespect we get from Lahaina. We're getting from the government in Lahaina. I've been telling you guys that. How much times I come tell you guys that? Yeah? We make the most money in tax dollars. That's why you guys like hurry up, open tourism because of tax dollars. But we, how much please get? Sorry. But we get the shit end of the deal. Yeah? Our everything is junk. The roads, the bypass, never make, but still you're on rail, you know? Everything happened. Okay? Sorry for the parks, guys, but I'm going to yell at them. I coach baseball. All the other parks is cherry. Lahaina Park is junk.
3 minutes.
Unsafe. Very unsafe. Yeah? The old mayor, he came and he told us that. We had an all-star tournament. We coached the West Maui. Supposed to be in West Maui, that tournament, all-star. But we couldn't. Little League never liked them because it was not safe, so we had to play. Lahaina had to host them, but in Kihei. So what I'm trying to get is, respect us, Lahaina guys. Listen to us, Lahaina guys. Lahaina important. Very, 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 very important. So that's why you guys like us hurry up and open. 2 months. The heck is that? Jeez. You know? Another thing is communication. You guys is the first step, okay? Because I finally get to talk. Yeah? You know, you guys listening. So now, tomorrow, what I got with?
4 minutes.
The senator, he's going to hear me tomorrow. Okay? I went Honolulu. I went talk to Kirk Favela guys. Then I went talk to Sylvia Luke. Yeah? Oh, yes, sir. They still stay here. Yeah, Honolulu. Yes, sir. These buggers going to stay with me. You go yell at them too. But yeah, you know what I mean? We're trying every which way to get a message out there, but nobody listening. Today, I never like talk until after. You know, I don't care. I'm not here for the hee-hee, you know. I want you guys to hear Lahaina. You guys heard them. Yeah, you guys heard them. Communication. You guys got to go yell at them. Sorry, you guys are put in the spot. Because until tomorrow, I'm going to tell the senator guys, same thing. I hope my state legislators show up tomorrow. But they're going to be part of the yelling. Yeah, same thing. Because we like learn from our mistakes, guys. You know, you guys heard them. All the fires in the game. You never learn nothing. COVID, no learn nothing. Reopen, hurry up. No seem like you guys learning. In baseball, I tell the kids, no scared make mistakes. As long as you learn from them. And look like you guys not learning from them. Look like you guys not learning from them. Lucky my kids down here. I'm going to tell you, you sit down on the bench. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to be a little bit more long because one thing everybody's talking about is temporary housing. Yeah, I've been busting my okole since August 9th to get this going. I have a product that can be done real quick. It's fire retardant, and I can say fireproof because we just seen what's happening with the fire. The baga is hurricane proof, up to 150 miles an hour. Termite proof. Oh, my house is hold up by the termites holding hand. You know, I don't like spray them, but I put on my house. But yeah, so this product is good. We tried working with a private owner, developer, but we still kind of give one chance. The door a little bit open for work with that guy. We might have another piece of land. We don't know. We're going to try them. We're trying everything. This guy's trying and trying and trying. I don't know what the government is trying to do. We don't see nothing. You're only telling you, go here, go here, go here. 3 days here, 1 month here, 1 week here.
Uilani Walker Bari Quattro. I'm a widowed mom of 2 traumatized girls and a traumatized dog. As many others here, my home of 23 years was reduced to ashes. We cannot go back to my mom's house because her house is burnt down. I can't go to my sister's house because her house is burnt down too. While I'm stressed from hopping from Airbnb to hotels and signing up for resources, I'm struggling to find a home for my family on my income alone. In addition to finding a place to stay, to rent, I have to pay for my mortgage for a home that no longer stands. My monthly expense is going to be at least $8,000 a month, and I actually can't even find a decent rental for less than $4,000 that allows pets. We have houses on the resource site for $10,000 for a 3-bedroom house, $20,000 for a 3-bedroom house. On the Maui Resource Center, sorry. This alone will deplete my insurance and savings that is required from FEMA in order for them to help me, leaving me with no money to rebuild my house when it comes to time with today's cost. On top of that, next year, I'm going to have to pay for inflated property tax to a home that doesn't even exist. As many others, I'm trying to figure out how are we going to survive for the next few years while our families are forced to put a smile on our faces and see all these visitors come. Can you take care of us first? Can you take care of the Lahaina people first before you guys open it up to the visitors? Can you make us the priority? Can we be the priority before the tourists? Why do we have to fight and rally to get our voices heard? Like, we come first. We should always come first. We've grown up here. We help everybody here. The community came to help each other first. Like, where are you? Share the water with us. It's given freely from the sky. All those millions of gallons of water that evaporates from the pool every month could have gone to our aina instead. Why do visitors get to drink and pee in these freshwater pools and we cannot have it in our lo'i or in our backyard gardens? Protect us from the inflated property taxes. Help us with the resources we need so that we're not forced out of our own hometown because we cannot pay rent and our mortgages and deplete our savings and can't rebuild our house and we can't afford it anymore. We're going to be priced out for sure. Help us rebuild Lahaina that we all can be proud of together. The world is watching us, Lahaina, what everybody is doing. So show us that our government cares for us.
Thank you, Ms. Bariquacho. Sorry for your loss. It should be having property tax bill on Friday council meeting for referral to committee, but might need support from the community to pass it. So just wondering if you can keep an eye out and rally support for that.
Why do we have to rally support for a property tax to our houses that burnt down? Why can't you guys just automatically give it to us?
Because
Why
I
do we
need
have to
5
fight for it?
votes. I need 5 votes, that's why.
5 votes for what? Why can't we just have it? Like, the hotels can pay for the inflated prices. Our homes don't even exist for us to even pay for this.
If I don't get 5 votes, it won't pass. That's how it works. There's
Who's-
9 of us.
Who do we have to get to vote? What kind of support do we need? We don't even know that. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do to get this.
There's 9 people on the council. I'm 1 person. You need 5 votes.
So what do we have to do? Why can't we do it here? Like, it's another, I have to work. I'm the only one in my family that's taking care of my girls, and I'm still working part-time. How am I supposed to get away from my job that's providing income that I can barely afford because I got to pay somebody else's mortgage along with mine? And you're going to make me go to another meeting that's going to take away from my income to provide for my family. So what is it that you want from all of us to make this happen?
I just need 5 votes.
What do we need to vote? So what do you need? What do we have to do to get you to help us and vote for us that we need our property taxes? Like,
I think if I can clarify what Member Paulton's saying, she's just saying she hears you and we will have something in front of us. If you want to, you can come. You don't have to. We don't we will remember you.
Well, how do we even get this knowledge out for the people that can come, for the people who cannot come?
Sure. So it's on our website. We have an agenda posted, and if what was that? Yeah, we do all PSAs as well. Member Paulton's really good at like posting it on her Facebook and stuff. But if you cannot come, one, we will remember you, and two, you can always send written testimony. And I mean, honestly, Junie Nicole is always reminding us that you guys are here too. So, you know, but we will remember you. I understand it's very hard, and I do appreciate you coming. Thank you.
Can I make a quick comment, please?
Cannot, because
Is
we are.
everybody okay if I make a quick comment, real quick?
Okay,
Here's
you can
the
have,
thing,
like,
everybody.
1 minute,
This
okay,
this
and-
table right here is the one that's what they just talked about. So the people here are asking all of you right now, vote. They don't need to be here to go to another meeting, as she said.
Yeah.
It's taking away from their time.
Yeah.
You folks are getting paid by their taxes. So you should automatically say, everyone here and everyone else who was here earlier is asking you for that help.
We hear that.
And I want to say one thing.
Okay,
Property
we have to wrap it up.
taxes is really crazy in Hawaii. Give these people a break. And this moratorium on the rent that they're charging our people $10,000 for a 3-bedroom, you folks
Okay.
have the power to stop it.
Thank
Stop
you,
it.
Nancy. Thank you. We have to go on.
Aloha mai kako, ola akeo ko owino. Noho, or no Lahaina mai au. My name's La'akeo Webb. I'm born and raised here in Lahaina. My Lahaina family, the Kanihos, go back generations to Arbahi. Today, I stand before you to tell you what the community has been voicing for generations. I've been very hesitant to testify today because this is my first time testifying, but I feel that it is my kuleana as a young Kanaka here in Lahaina to use my voice and to give my mana'o as I've myself and my immediate family have also been impacted by these fires. Today, I am proud to have Ko'umau Kupuna speaking through me and guiding the future that not just Lahaina, but all of Hawaii needs. I stand before you today so that Maui can set the example. My family, we lived in Wahikuli on Kohoma Street, so our whole neighborhood, my house included, is completely decimated. Growing up, my mom, who just had to leave because we all work in tourism, but she just had to leave to go work for tourists that are here while we are all grieving, including her. Growing up, I've always heard stories from my mom, my kupuna, about Arbahi. From plantation days, from my great Papa John, who used to work at the mill plantation, and all that. And that has really always sparked my curiosity and my own, wanting to know more about our history and my people. I learned more about our history my senior year, and I used Hawaiian history, like preserving Hawaiian history sites, as my senior project when I was a senior. I learned a lot about places here in Lahaina and just things like that. That has always sparked my curiosity. I would like to talk about my own experiences with the whole evacuation process and how that was like. There was absolutely no communication whatsoever from anyone. And witnessing the smoke coming out seeing it from Wahikuli, coming out from Lahaina Luna, no one knew in my neighborhood, no one knew what was happening, no one knew what we were gonna do. And by that time, because of the winds and everything, the traffic was horrible and there was no communication, so we all just decided to evacuate on our own terms with no government, nothing, no siren sounding, nothing. So that's something that really needs to be obviously fixed in the future if you haven't already heard it before.
3 minutes.
Coming more towards with the opening of tourism and everything, I'm also speaking for my holohas who are back in the States to pursue higher education because they're not here to testify. This is my thoughts and a lot of my holohas' thoughts on the opening of tourism on the October 8th. There's no binary when it comes to the future of Hawaii. Tourism is what we're used to, and it's the most familiar thing for many of us to lean on because it's what we've been taught to accept as the solution for decades. Hence, while tourism may still occur within Hawaii, it is not the solution and should be addressed and understood as an extremely complex problem. The past should prove more than ever that tourism will not work to uplift the Olahui. It was designed to bring us down, so how in the hell would it suddenly bring us back up?
4 minutes.
And why would the industry be willing to uplift the people it's been subjecting to, for decades? Skipping ahead, I just hope that, we, in the future, for my generation or for the generations that come after me, as you've heard in past testimonies, that we build Lahaina in how us Lahaina people hope to see it, with self-sustaining food security to restore our hupua'a systems, give us back our water. You've heard that for years. You've heard our people crying for years, our oppression and everything. Like, come on, like, get ahead. Like, we're still suffering. My generation, we're still suffering. Like, make Lahaina o kamalu ulu olale again, ola I kawai, ho'i ka'aina, and restore moku ula and moku hinia. Mahalo.
In your testimony, you said that your ho'aloha who are away at college are not testifying, and I wanted to find out if it's because they don't want to or they don't know that they can via Blue Jeans, because we have a Blue Jeans meeting link and they can testify from where they are.
I really just feel like it's like kind of like all the above, because they're kind of, doing their own thing now. And that's another thing I wanted to touch on with my testimony, with hearing them. A lot of my friends, and I know that there's been statistics coming out in the news that a lot of Kanaka are moving away, which is, a big thing that's happening. And it hurts me to learn and know that a lot of my peers, my hoas are, have expressed that they don't, that they can't see a future here because of what's happening, because of what the government has continually, been displaying. And it's just a huge slap in the face that, that we still have not seen anything being done for us to stay here. And, I even fear for my own, future about that. I don't even know if I'm going to be staying here soon.
O makena haliaka o akalani loyan ko'ui noa. My name is McKenna. I am from Maui, and my mom's side of the family is from Lahaina. If any of you remember Hapo Chinese Bakery on Front Street, that was my family's, the Hussey family. If Laura Lay is still here, I'd love to talk the story with her and give her a hug. Yes. I lived in Waikuli with my boyfriend and his sister. We were there that day experiencing the Kawa'ula winds and the heat of the rapidly spreading fire. We got evacuated with only minutes to spare. That fire claimed our home, a lot of my family history, and some elder family members that did not make it. A couple months before the fire, I was accepted into Keola Donaghy's program at Maui College titled Ha'ina Kovehi, celebrating West Maui through mele. To preserve its history through songs written in both English and Olelo. When the fires happened, I was displaced along with so many others and unsure of what we were going to do moving forward, but we did move forward because that's what we do. Art reflects the times we are in, and we need it more than ever to heal our collective pu'uvai, our hearts. Our project will reflect what happens here in Lahaina moving forward, and our songs will tell the story of what was, what is, and what will be. Now I want to write songs about revivals of Hawaiian ways, of Aina taking care of and vai flowing again, Kalo growing abundantly, Kihavahine returned home, our Lahui rebuilding Lahaina to what they want it to be, to what our ancestors would be proud of. All of the truly important things. I don't want any of us younger generations to miss this clear opportunity to do better and not have to look back on what we could have done. What I have to say is that all of us have a chance to seize this pivotal moment of life. We have a chance to rewrite our IGHT, like the woman said before me. We can rewrite West Maui history. What we do in the aftermath of this will shape the future of not just West Maui, but all of Maui. The community is watching, and yes, the world is watching. I really do hope the words and stories shared with you today will never leave your minds as you speak for us and advocate for us to those in higher positions of power. Let us have courage to really listen individually and collectively to whatever inside of us urges us to do the right thing and act accordingly. Mahalo.
Aloha. My name is Astrid McGallan. I've been here 8 years from El Paso, Texas. I moved here with my 2 kids. My son is now 20. My daughter is 14 years old. I moved here because I am an artist, and Lahaina, as I researched where I fit in the world for a long time with my family, Lahaina was one of the most inspirational places, full of art, culture. It's just a phenomena. And so on the 8th, I almost died. I barely made it. It was really traumatic. I sought refuge at a friend's house that has been here for 26 years and has seen so many of the considerations for this beautiful place. And I sought refuge there with him. The reason I'm a shy person. I communicate. God knows how I communicate. In the time I've been here, I worked with the tourists here on Front Street as a concierge. I also worked at the galleries. I had recently gotten a job at the House of Fleetwood. I've seen the whole. I was learning the history. I was learning the ways. I was praying to be here. I had prayed to be here, and I'm praying to still be here. I don't know why these things happened, just like I see much of the community doesn't know. And the reason I want to speak of what I experienced that day is to also have it on record, not just for you, for the people of Lahaina, but as we say, the world is learning. And there are just things that are completely not making sense. And I don't know where to ask these questions. And I don't know if you are the ones that ask these questions, but these are valid because there's obviously blocks. So on that day, I was supposed to be here at 10:45. I woke up in Kihei, dropped off my daughter to Kihei Charter at 8:30 in the morning. For 6 to 7 years, I commuted that highway on that 2-lane road. I had become a road expert. I had seen what it took to drive, the miracle that it was to drive. By the way, I just want to say this is a miracle. This is 2 months of traumatized, homeless people that have provided such intelligent solutions to some of the most intricate problems of our world. If they can do it, if they're here bathed, if they're here being respectful and loving, I don't understand why these things have to happen in these ways. So as I drove here, the first thing I noted was around 9:30 at Oluwalu, traffic had halted. When I woke up, I think the reason that I really just want to make my testimony be on the record is because I definitely witnessed something that makes no sense. And I think in order to heal, and what I've learned about healing of our minds, our hearts, and everything is understanding is key. And this is such a catastrophe, such a phenomenon. It's beyond words that I know that understanding is going to take time, and I'm committed to that. In the 8 years before, I worked really hard to get here. I've been working really hard to be here, and I'm committed for that. I'm committed to Lahaina. I'm committed to Maui. I'm committed to the goodness of this world. Hello. Well, in the darkness.
Sorry, one second. Did somebody just turn off the lights or? Sorry.
No worries. This is just
Oh, there we go.
the higher things, right? The most important thing that I want to express here is that I witnessed the burning for 12 hours. I was lucky to live through that. I literally stood in flames with fire all around me. I don't know how I'm alive, and this is truth, and it's baffling my mind deconstructing it. I know that at 10, there were blocks to get into Lahaina before there were fires. I know at that point there was communication. I know that at 2:30, I called my daughter, I called my son, and I called my mother to tell her goodbye. And she was like, nothing's gonna happen to you. And I'm like, Mother, I don't know how to get out of here. I've been going through it all day long. How am I gonna get out of Lahaina? At 10 in the morning, when I made it down through the bypass, I made it through the back. I thought the safe place was the Lahaina Luna neighborhood, right? My friend lived right behind the smokestack, yeah? So I'm there from like 10 in the morning stuck. We went on a moped around. I saw how many cars from Lahaina Luna stuck, and I'm coming from Kihei with clear roads. I also know that here at the Westin, at the Hyatt, there's huge golf courses where many cars could have easily been evacuated. And my question is, after I face death, and I'm so happy to be alive, to take care of my daughter.
3 minutes.
I'm so happy that I have a home to get to and take a shower and get ready to spend a day here with this beautiful community. And in these 2 months that I've been processing the trauma, crying, all of that, and I know that people are in the park going through it with just music and rainbows and like going out of their minds, right? So that's why I want to make this timeline, because apart from the future that I'm envisioning, that I see the experts, the future is freaking beautiful if it doesn't get blocked. So what I beg of you is unblock it. I'm here to unblock it with you, yeah? I'll do it. Here's the timelines. Let's call it out. Why? Why were we blocked? Why was it blocked at 10? Why am I dying at 2:30? And people are still dying 5 minutes away. Why does Oahu have advanced military coast services, things that could fly in minutes, and there's flames and people not being evacuated in minutes? I am almost fully confident that if somebody would have told me that morning, you're almost going to die, and many around you will, I would have yelled on Front Street to all my OPC boys, and they would have evacuated
4
Lahaina
minutes.
in 2 hours. I thought that thing was going to take 2 hours. So I'm only honoring that story with you so that we can continue to say, what happened? What happened? What happened? Yeah, I'm sorry.
So 10 in the morning, the room was blocked at Hokiokio and the bypass.
I thought I got a notice not to come into work around 9:30, but I've been coming back and forth. So I actually had a backpack I wanted to pick up on Front Street so that I could go back and clean my house. So at 10 in the morning, I came down and it was the police with a barricade. When I came back up Hokiokio, I still made a judgment call. I was like, there was no fires. It was kind of windy. Traffic was cool. They were shocking. They were letting me through. I could have gone back to Kihei.
Hokiokio and the bypass.
Right there.
So they diverted you down to...
No, they diverted me back up. I went back up the highway at 10 in the morning, and I still, I saw from that part, Lahaina Luna was already saturated. To Kihei, it was packed. So I made a left turn, and I'm like, I'm going to go behind Safeway to Front Street. I didn't,
At 10 in the morning.
I realized at this point I just had to witness. And honestly, what I witnessed behind Lahaina Luna, that's another thing. It was saturated, pardon me. It was covered in cars. When I got rescued, my friend literally last minute in his moped came, okay? It was so covered in, I don't even know how I didn't die just from smoke. I had been smelling the smoke since 1 p.m. At 2:30, when my friend rescued me in the car, we had no way out. Everything was blocked. Everything around us, gone. These are kids. These were the keiki right there, 5 minutes from Front Street, These numbers, I've also, my car burned down, and somebody was really cool and lent me a car, and that's how I've been driving over here, and I'm realizing I'm a witness. I'm a total witness.
Do you mind if you kind of write down a timeline
I
and
have
send
it.
it to us?
I absolutely.
Can you
I
please
have,
send it to
yeah.
us?
But this thing took 12 hours, and the biggest question I have is for the atrocity of these flames at 2:30 p.m. when I still had phone service. How long would it take the National Guard, the military, to arrive to Lahaina and evacuate 1, 2 kupuna, elders, children? How much water do they have to save this town? So in these blocks, I see a lot of design already, and I'm curious. We had our sister that is working hard, that has nowhere to restore, that her debt is like $8,000 already, you know, and she's here begging for you guys. One more, begging for you guys. And all you guys are saying is, I need 5 votes. And I'm like, all of you are votes. What does it take from us? What does it take from us, you know, so that you have your votes and that we can start protecting our people so that what we build doesn't feel that unsafe.
The next testifier is Lori Betzel-Nielsen.
Hello, everyone. Hi. First, I would like to say thank you to the council for coming to Lahaina and for taking the time to meet with us, and most importantly, to listen to us. Second, I would like to thank my community for all of your effort. What Ohana meant before the fires. I've lived here since 2008. But having returned on Monday, and then the fires started Tuesday, and having 2 families drive to my house, one with their ears still on fire from a fireball hitting the back of his head. It was right in that moment when I understood what Ohana meant, and for 10 days, my neighborhood in Kahanawai was a hospital, literally a hospital. And so anyhow, thank you to my community. I know that for me, at least, even though I'm from Texas, Maui will be my final resting place now on Earth. And with that, I wanted to take 1 minute of my time to honor the lives that were lost, and just taking a moment to represent also the mourning that we each feel in our heart. So I started the timer. I get so emotional when I think about everything that happened. And I hear these stories of people trying to escape and getting gridlocked, and someone like Ian Dykeman getting a call from his parents saying goodbye. I can't even fathom, and it just breaks my heart. And I somehow had the privilege to go the first 3 days immediately into the impact zone and walk it all. And I saw things that ironically have not given me nightmares, but it just fired up my passion to help. And so with that, with my last minute or two, I just want to give you an outsider perspective, which I am an outsider. I landed here on October 30th, 2008 with a corporate job that brought me here from Texas. Immediately after stepping into the breezeway to get off the airplane, I felt a sense of peace I will never forget. I believe that peace was a peace telling me that I was home. 3 months after landing, I was beat up by 2 local women for mistakenly cutting them off on the highway via my blind spot.
3 minutes.
I was chased off the road and again beat on, being yelled at as they did to go back to where I came from. You Howley, you do not belong here. Even still, walking through 2009, I knew that this land is where all the roads of my life led me. Today, I stand here as a Betzel who, since '92, has been helping rebuild the island. I myself have owned 3 businesses here, and with my husband an additional 2. For me, I'm not leaving this place. I refuse to live here any longer and not be a part of the solution. For many years, I was a part of the problem. I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off for almost a decade. I was busy. I was not paying attention. I was not helping.
I was living here benefiting from the land, our INA, and not giving back the way I should, which is what I feel a lot of us do. And we are so busy trying to afford to live here that we forget to stop and just pause and look around us and actually participate. So in
4 minutes.
So in closing, I want to share a few sentiments that I have. For years, I've been hearing about water. Can we please just give the water back? Like, I'm from Texas. I don't know why the private landowners own the water. Like, they should just give it back. Peter Martin gave 2 acres to the Olawalu Fire Station. I'm happy to help advocate to get him to give us the water. And then, that's too much to put in, but I really want to see infrastructure. I want to see a bypass built. You're not going to build 400 new homes in Pulelehua and then not give me an opportunity to get out and get gridlocked when the fire lines burn down my home in Kahanawai. So we need that bypass extended immediately to Kahana if we're going to spearhead Pulelehua. I was with the governor yesterday. I heard all the plans about the temporary school. That is where I am choosing to spend my time, is on the education of these children. Even though my kids are at Maui Prep, I'm still helping out the education. So if anybody wants to help with education here, I'm your girl. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate you guys so much.
Aloha kako. My name is Sanford Hill. I am a local-born Kama'aina Kapuna. I lived at Halima'aolu on Lahaina Luna Road, where a tragedy happened that could have been prevented, should have been prevented, and as a failure completely of all of the people who were responsible from the federal, state, Maui County, Halima'aolu, the landowners, it goes on, and it's something that's been a problem for a long time that nobody dealt with, and now my friends, 8 of them are dead. And these are all kupuna, all between 70 and 90 years old, who died, burned to death. Everybody has known that this fire was coming. In 2018, I watched the fire come down in the middle of the night to about 50 yards from my place. I was one of the last people to leave. And when I left, a house was catching on fire literally across the street from me on Lahaina Luna Road. I left, there was no fire department there was no nothing, and the wind was blowing straight at me about 60 miles an hour. I thought my place was gone because the house was already across the street was catching on fire. When I came back the next morning, to my surprise, only one house had burned to the ground. I couldn't figure out why the fire never spread until my neighbor told me, who lived next to it, that his friend had been driving a county water truck down the road, saw the house burning, turned in and emptied the whole 4,000 gallons on that house. If that hadn't happened, it would have burned down 5 years ago. There's no question in my mind. So for 5 years, I don't know who knows about this. I mean, obviously the county should know, it was a county water truck, that they could have done stuff to prepare for this. They could have very cheaply bought a number of those brush fighting trucks. They could have for the amount of money that we've lost, they could have sprinklered the whole thing. But nobody did anything. Halima'aolu itself, the management, had no plan for us to evacuate. On the morning of August 8th, when the first fire started, which I could see literally, the one that they caught on video from the power line, I could see it from my house. There were a couple fire engines that came, and we were sent a message to evacuate. So I went down at about 7:30 and talked to the housing manager. She kind of said, well, you might think about it. At that point, the wind was so strong, it was blowing the shingles off of the house, and they were already projectiles. And it was already way too dangerous for elderly people to be there. They should have really evacuated us about, in the morning. About 9:30, she came up, and I had already moved my stuff ready to evacuate. She came up. They told me the fire was 100% contained, that there was no threat. So I actually thought, okay, there's no threat. I left to go to the other side for a dentist appointment. When I left Halima'aolu at 1:15, there was a fire truck
Cavilla Street, right there, which made me think, okay, this is under control. It's the middle of the day. It's not night. Nothing's going to happen. The traffic was already stopped up all the way up Lahaina Luna Road. I went to Wailuku. When I was coming after about 2:30, 3 o'clock, when I was coming back from the dentist appointment, I saw the Wailuku Fire Department by the plantation heading back to Wailuku. They were the ones that were in, somebody told them to go back. I don't know who, but they left a fire in the middle of hurricane force winds that eventually blew across and started the fire. Literally, we were the third or fourth place that burned. I wasn't there, luckily, for the fire, but a lot of my friends were, and they described it just as terror. The staff left and left them there. They literally said they didn't have any room, one of the resident manager. And 8 people died. So, out of 34 units. All of this could have been prevented, and everybody needs to be held responsible. It's time for everybody to admit that this is a failure, a systemic failure of our government system to protect the people that live there, especially the Kapuna. And they need to take responsibility and take responsibility for what happens to us. You know, I can't get into any other place. I was paying $144 a month rent. It doesn't exist. There's more people that want to come to Maui than there's physical land available. That's the fact. And somebody's got to deal with this problem. I might have to move to Kauai. I don't want to, but that's the only place I can get. I can't even get a letter to put me in front of the 10-year waiting list to get into any elderly place on Maui in Hawaii. It doesn't exist. So all these things everybody's talking about is bubbles. It doesn't exist, you know. So what's going to happen to us? You know, somebody's got to come up with a real plan and not put us into modular homes run by the homeless shelter, which is kind of what's going to happen to us, I think. You know, eventually there's no housing, or the housing is so expensive that we can't afford it. We're going to all end up in modular homes that they're going to build out of container stuff, and that's where we're going to get stuck for years. So in closing, I think that, you know, this is you guys, Kuleana, your responsibility, and you guys need to take responsibility for it.
Oh yeah, my name's Cord Munoz. I'm born and raised from Lahaina, so thank you. Okay, so I just had some thoughts from today. It's been very emotional, and I'm going to try and keep that limited so I can get some good points across to you folks, because there's some ideas that need to be talked about. There's a template for success in rebuilding. In California, the wildfires that ravaged that place, thousands more structures were lost, less lives were lost, surprisingly, because they had a plan and they acted on that, and then they coordinated to evacuate properly, which is what we need to look to in the future. But I'm going to talk about what you guys need to do for us, like right now, in the next coming weeks, okay? So the first priority, people need housing first, yeah, before we can even have tourists come back to deal with it. Obviously, people want to be able to go back to their land first, and I think that's going to be a big benchmark when people think it's okay for tourists to come back. So we got to focus on getting people housing, even temporary, but semi-permanent. You know, people shouldn't be moving between hotels like that. That's not fair, not to them. And then especially when you get FEMA, Red Cross workers, all of them get to stay in the same room and help us. That's good, but locals should be priority number one. Okay. If you are going to shut down tourism, obviously you need to get the housing done quickly. But people need aid, financial aid to pay their mortgages, and they need mortgage deferrals, or they need to move it to the back of the note. So definitely coordinate, work on that. So people have to keep paying their mortgages if they're going to have a chance to go back to their land. Yeah. So the most important process about rebuilding is going to be not how many buildings we get back or percentage, which is going to be, people will judge that first by how many buildings come back, but by how many people are able to recover spiritually and mentally, and go back to having a normal life and feel safe in where we live. So I propose that you guys create some kind of committee or initiative for mental health
focusing on mental health, and for specific groups like cultural groups, religious, there's different facets you guys can attack mental health. Yeah, and community should become a focus for all of us too. So from the hubs, I had a good idea where in this rebuilding time, we have block captains. This came from the Sonoma County model. So you guys have it divided to neighborhoods already. But if we have like 1 or 2 captains that could represent that neighborhood, then each community could be represented easily, and their thoughts could be conveyed at these kind of meetings faster. And then we can coordinate with individuals instead of like a mass group of people. That being said, organizing the information and delivering it to the community is important. So you guys have to have a singular message delivered from us, your people you
3
represent,
minutes.
to the governor and the other offices that need to hear it and need to send us help. That being said, on Oahu and other places, they have aid waiting for us in containers. And Uncle John Kinimaka's here. He asks for stuff every day on Facebook, and local people have to come and bring cases of water and whatever. But they say they have all this stuff, and they don't let any of us let us have any of it. There's containers over at by Old Lowe's full of stuff, and we need things. So we're gonna make sure you start facilitating us getting the funding, all this money, all these nonprofits and stuff. Get it to us. Get the food to us. The community organizers that are here in this room, we're more than capable of helping you guys deliver all this stuff and supporting our community. And we want to. And people will step up to be block leaders. Just have to ask. Yeah. Yeah, the mental health is important. And then of the kapuna and the kids too, important. So make sure it's a full spectrum. Yeah.
4 minutes.
Like having that block captain and neighbors come together is going to be part of people handling their trauma and being able to express themselves. A survivor of a disaster has to tell their story over 30 times, 36 times before they can fully start to cope with it. So the more opportunities people get to speak out, the better. So public forums beyond county council meetings. So like we can just come together as community and we can, talk story. That would be great. Like organized events like that would be really cool. I've been coordinating with some of these organizers from California. They work with like United policyholders. Actually, Yuki, Annie. I just had a meeting with her yesterday. But they have all these resources for us, and they're willing to help. Like their whole community is willing to come here and help us. Like they're not even from here, but they want to do this for us. So like we have to be careful who we trust and who is going to influence our community in the coming years. And all these decisions are really important. But just meeting with that lady yesterday, I already knew that those people can be trusted because they've been through it. They're an organization created by survivors and for their own community. So they did it all themselves, So us, the people, are going to be important. Not just us chanting to these guys to get it done, but together we have to make it happen. And then just one thing, the one thing you guys can do is pass the law. In Sonoma, they reduced permit fees for construction. They held it at a flat cap, but you should just get rid of it, permitting fees, because the county can afford it. There's funds to make sure that they don't have to pay for that. That's typically like 1.5% to 1.8% of construction costs. That could be like $30,000 on like or more on a standard house. Yeah, or even an ohana is expensive. And then, people talked about infrastructure as like, we need to hire twice as many firefighters. And we need more fire stations. We need a hospital. We need ambulance services to this side, or increased ambulance service if we're not going to get a hospital immediately. Okay, and then with the double firefighters, we can have those guys when they're not fighting fires. They can be up in the hills, cutting fire breaks. They can be managing the land up there, the tree trimming. Like instead of having Hiko or Miko do it, we can give the money to them to keep the power lines free of fire hazards. Make it a fire bureau, so they can preemptively rid us of the dangers. And have a board and just the stewardship of the land. That whole concept is great. Like we have so much empty land and people who need places to go. They could farm the land, work the land, live a sustainable life, and then contribute to the community, create an economy not based on tourism. And I like Paele's idea of regenerative and ecotourism. Any animosity towards you guys shouldn't be
until after this is solved, made right. Because you guys are in power now to make it happen for all of us. So
Absolutely.
we trust you guys.
We're here and we're not leaving.
Thanks.
My question is, so did you study the Sonoma County fire and rebuild?
I've only just started meeting with these guys, but from the statistics they told me, like the county that was 95% rebuilt, they were mostly insured, and they had
no business.
The help that they had the help of their city planner and their neighborhood planning and their permitting department to expedite things, and that getting that rebuild started immediately was crucial because insurance only covers the 12, 24, or they're going to increase it to 36 months. By the time that 3 years is probably, if you haven't started rebuilding your house, you're going to be the kind of shit out of luck.
Yeah.
So-
Member Paulton just met with the Sonoma County supervisor about 5 days ago.
That's
this
great.
past weekend.
They're
So
very intelligent people. They know exactly. They've been through our whole timeline already, and they have a lot of resources we could use. So important to network with those people.
Exactly. I think all of us have been inspired by, his name is James Gore, and he is he's the chair of the Sonoma County Council. And he shared with all of us, I bet, his plan. And I hope to see us all implement a portion of it. But I really would like to...
And then, one last thing. Like the two communities, Paradise, California, their fire happened after. And Sonoma, Santa Rosa, California, their fire happened first. But Santa Rosa, at this point, is 95%. And Paradise is 35%. I was going to say, that's because most of them were underinsured and low, like zero insurance. So that's going to happen. But to them, 35% is successful rebuild because the people that still live there are able to live a normal life. And they dealt with their trauma properly. So I can only hope that for all of us in here too. Because, I'm getting emotional, see? I didn't want to do this, but, man, it hurts. And everybody in here has a voice and a story, and you should never be afraid to tell it.
My name is Jared Kahaili. Thank you for being here and for so long. I wasn't planning on testifying today, but it's been such an inspirational day that I took down some notes and I created a Christmas wish list. Thank you for being here. I was wondering if it would be possible at all to be able to create some kind of a committee that would be able to establish some sort of accountability for organizations that are donating money, Oprah, Jeff Bezos, any other local nonprofits, to kind of just see where that money's going and making sure it's equitably being dispersed. And then is there any sort, I know that the county had placed a lawsuit against HECO. Is there any sort of consideration for that being applied towards Alexander and Baldwin for the agriculture lands that they have that weren't being used for agriculture and were tinder? That would be great. And then I believe Chief Pelletier, he said that it's going to take 2 years for a review to come out for the events as they unfolded on August 8th. Is that for real? Like, it seems very long, and I don't know, for me personally, it feels like it would create more suspicion. And then what else is there? Construction for workforce housing. I noticed that a lot of the workforce housing do have at-market homes that have to be put for sale. Is there any way to put a moratorium on having those at-market houses for sale and having that exclusively for workforce housing so we can get housed sooner rather than later? And can we rebuild? Speaking about rebuilding, is it possible to be rebuilding our infrastructure with subterranean infrastructure for electricity, not having these telephone poles that always seem to break in the wind? That would be great. I know it's going to be more of a cost, but it saves you from having a town go down a fire again. Another thing with rebuilding, and I know this is more of a federal level ask, but the Jones Act, if we can put some kind of a moratorium on that, that'll allow us to get supplies from people a lot more soon and at a less of a cost.
But again, that's a huge thing. I know it's been touched on every time we have a natural disaster here, but hey, who knows? And then I heard the comment of the other person that had was talking about the intercoms with loudspeakers. Speaking of rebuilding, I used to live in Japan. I lived there for 2 years, and they have an amazing intercom system where they are actually able to tell you, hey, this is an alarm. There's a fire down here on this street. Be careful. Or, hey, we're experiencing an earthquake. You're going to have aftershocks coming in a few seconds from now. That would be a great part of the rebuild.
Hello, my name is Jacob Howard. I'm a 23-year-long resident, moved here when I was 9 years old, single dad of 2 children. I'd like to open my statement by bringing to attention a 173-year-old law, the Resident Alien Act, signed in 1850. This law needs to be revised along with many others, as we know. This law gave right to the foreigners and non-Hawaiians to buy land. Currently, the state of Hawaii is the largest landowner here, followed by Alexander Baldwin in the U.S. government, along with Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Larry Ellison, and many more. Much of this land was purchased after the 100-year lease was over, without payment to any of the Hawaiian bloodline. These agricultural lands should have been handed over to their proper families and been paid for the lease, use, and trashing of their promised lands. The government should provide subsidies for the people to farm their land the way they see fit to provide for their families with the land and water as their birthright. East Maui Irrigation and West Maui Land and Pine has created what we call a natural monopoly, just like Hawaiian Electric has. And we are still illegally diverting the water. The Aina Kupuna bill should also be set in action, whereas Hawaiians should not be taxed yearly for their land, causing them to lose their inherited lands, which also breaks the 8th Amendment. Currently, all of the county parks are dry with no irrigation, while the luxurious homes and hotels of this island have pools filled and lush yards and golf courses. In 2020, out-of-state residents purchased 1/3 of the homes across this island. And Maui lodging for tourism is currently over 21,000 in between hotels, condos, vacation rentals, and timeshares. Being Hawaii's biggest profit margin for the tourism, while there's no housing for the local families. These locations have taken public beach access away for years, illegally, many being illegally built to code. Status Section 205A-43 and the Planning Department Rule 11-5 states all lots abut the shoreline must remain 40 feet setback. A lot of these lodging locations are illegally grandfathered in. In places such as Costa Rica, the maritime zone laws puts a setback at 200 meters or 656 feet from the shoreline, with the first 150 feet being public. This rule cancels grandfathered builds, requiring demolition of any buildings breaking these codes. In 2022, Maui County's fiscal year budget was $843 million estimated, claimed for affordable housing, infrastructure, and tourist funds cuts, but not as delivered as we would expect. And I know that you guys are the county and you have to deal with the state personally. You guys aren't able to do what you guys would like to. A lot of times you're cut off by the state, such as the TAT. And we all understand that, you know, the vacation rentals and all these have made it very hard for us to live here. There should be an vacation rental and Airbnb, such as Venice, what happened out there, and pushed almost every resident out of that location. People from the mainland purchasing out without even being here. A lot of people that own houses here do not even live here. I don't want to break timing because I know there's many people behind me, but you all, as state and county officials, are voted in by the people, paid for by the people, and should act for the people. Or can also be voted out by the people and removed and replaced by the people of Hawaii. And we all appreciate you very much. We understand you all work hard. But
Hi, my name is Kieran Clark, and Lahaina is my hometown. Just wanted to share some observations today. I remember being in Paia during the pandemic lockdowns and seeing graffiti that said, "Are we really waiting for a return to normal, or are we ready to build something new?" I have not heard a single Lahaina resident that is a peer of mine that wants to return to normal, and I think the community here has shown that they are ready to build something new. From my testimony, I want to touch on why that may be. Why don't people want to return to normal? I've heard it said that we ought to judge a system not by its intention, but by what it actually does. What is it that this system has done? A few things mentioned today. Our system has priced out Kanaka Maoli into a diaspora, allocated natural resources to the biggest buyer, and chained the working class to a tourist-dependent economy. But it's not just the fact that we're dependent on tourism. On top of that, we collectively produce millions on top of millions, if not billions, in value through our labor, but the profit is privatized and shipped to offshore investors or into the pockets of an elite few. They then can do and use the money we produce to further impoverish and gentrify Maui, all while the working class lives just about paycheck to paycheck. I heard Naivi testify way earlier, brought up mental health. But the form of economic organization, I know I lost my spot, that we have hasn't been good for our mental health even before the fires. Many people drinking heavily and doing all kinds of things just to take time for themselves because we are underpaid and overstressed. Another way to say this is people are being taken advantage of. We don't want to return to a system that continues wealth stratification, a system that continues the practice of settler colonialism. We want to take steps towards self-sufficiency and away from dependency on the United States and its capitalist class. And that's because they see the working people as natural resources to be extracted from and exploited. When we learn the history of this place and this land, we see that the situation we're in is because of U.S. occupation. It is because of settler colonialism, militarism, and white supremacy.
3
That
minutes.
is the context from which we are rebuilding in. These are the forces we're up against, and we're only going to have meaningful change if we continue to hold meetings in Lahaina where our community and leaders can be present, heard, and allowed to act on the decisions Lahaina makes for themselves. Because we have to wonder what we will rebuild and for whom. Meetings need to happen in Lahaina, so thank you for this one, because it's a start. And just to tag on one last point, the banks charging people mortgages, they're colonial institutions, and the only reason we have to listen to them is through state-sanctioned violence. And I think Lahaina has seen enough violence, so please block them.
The next testifier is Paul Pelkey.
I'm permanently totally disabled. I kind of like what some of these people are saying about mental health, but then I think they're falling off track. You know, just recently, Hawaii's been investigated in a lot of other states by the Judicial Ethics Committee on the 20th. When I do not see anybody from Hawaii, like Senator Schatz, giving in and these type of investigations, as the Attorney General Garland, and we find many Attorney Generals have been doing the wrong thing, and especially during 2021. And being permanently totally disabled myself, I was brought over here being in the food and beverage business and working for the University of California, and thrown in isolation and shipped over here. My mother thought I was surfing or something like that, but then to find out in 2003 she was dying of cancer. And in our tradition, we do not take pictures. I will go back home, take care of her, even if she's denied military hospice, and be by her side, give up my caregiver, and do what I have to do. And at a private military event where Mr. Samfar was speaking, as I was looking for my mom's for a military hospice, he can stand up and stand up saying, we're going to build a high-tech military hospital on the west side. I know better. And this was during the Obama days. And this is just totally disgusting. And knowing that the NIH is not to be trusted, and certain other organizations that are being investigated. And when I come over here by the Santa Cruz Mental Health Access Team by Jim Ellis and Gary Reeves, and with cohorting with Beverly and HUD Housing, and the access team in here in Maui, they'd rather deny everything. And basically, back in a couple of years ago, when I was fairly observating all you people, and then it came up that there was a blight, there was a special meeting put on the top of the agenda, and that makes really good attention for someone like me with a background in construction and development, for
3
operating
minutes.
engineers, and I'm also a professional EMP as an emergency medical professional. And when I see everything is being shifted by everybody who sits up here, I think about cronyism. But on my last part, just last night, there was a gentleman named Sterling Haiga of StayMovement.org. He had a hell of a lot to say, and especially under the County Council Housing Title number 9. And then I would bring up one last thing, is to look up LAFCO. LAFCO was invented in San Mateo to change government all over the state. And that's all I got to say is do your homework and do it right, because a lot of you people may not be in your positions, but then I hope for all you people to act properly, because just like Hunter Biden and everybody, we will impeach, we will take every bit of order that we have to do to protect our Hawaiian properties and to do what's needed. And there will be civil disobedience, and we don't want that, do we?
No. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
your testimony.
And with my disabilities, I don't do internet and everything like that. And I would expect someone to get a hold of me, since I'm staying at the Royal Lahaina. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, aloha. Thank you guys for everyone here staying as long as you guys did. It was a long day, and I didn't decide to testify till after lunch. I wasn't gonna say anything, but anyways, aloha. My name is Tehani Kuhalua. I come from 6+ generations of Lahaina. The Ricard and Kahahane Ohana, who have been dedicated to this community for generations. I graduated from Lahaina Luna for the request of my grandma, Donna Gomes, one of 2 that we lost in the fire. The second was my cousin, who stayed and helped my grandma try to save our Ricard family home on Lahaina Luna Road. My grandma was a very stubborn, strong, and proud woman. Like many here today, my grandma took huge pride in being from Lahaina. She was born and raised here. She loved Lahaina. My grandma died exactly 1 week before her 72nd birthday. This fire could have been prevented. And I, with others, would have still had our loved ones with us here now. Today I'm speaking on her behalf. I know if she was still here today, all she would want to do is go home to Lahaina. I stand here today and ask you to please listen to everyone who spoke before me and have the best intentions about the future of Lahaina. My family had to escape from the fire and have been displaced since. All my time since the night of August 8th has been dedicated to helping them find long-term housing and helping the community. We're in hubs in Kilauea that is community-based and have been doing it on their own since. We have no time to grieve my grandma, Lahaina town, and the life we once had. If you have any power or say to push back the opening on October 8, please do. We need time to grieve, find housing, plan funerals, and slowly put our lives back together. Our sadness is turning into anger. This housing crisis has been a problem way before even the pandemic. The fire just made it 10 times harder for all of us locals to afford. And like said many times over today, Lahaina people know what's best for Lahaina, nobody else. Nothing about us without us. We will not be quiet this time. It's time to put Kanaka first. We have been silenced for far too long and are done with profit over people. Hawaii will not be Hawaii without Hawaiians
3 minutes.
and the residents who have lived here for generations if we all get priced out. There will be no one to service the tourists that our government is so focused on putting first. Will they serve themselves when we are all gone?
Aloha, my name is Kanamu Belendmin, born and raised in Lahaina. I have many emotions going on right now. Sadness, worry, and anger. The day after the fire, or the day before the fire, I was at S-Turns, worried about my son in Wahikuli. So I jumped on my go-kart because I knew the power lines were down, and I went over to get him. The anguish on everybody's face that were looking for the kids that we had to pass by. We picked up about 7 people on my golf cart to hang on so I could take them to where they had to go. I will never forget that moment. People worried about their kids, worried about their houses, worried about their loved ones. I was able to grab my son, and luckily I did, because the house he was at in Waiikuli burnt down as most of all Waiikuli did. The very next day, my friends and I started the hub down at S-Turns, and we've been down there ever since 50 days straight, working down there. On day 2, Angus McKelvey called us up saying, "Brother, we get stuff flying in from Honolulu. We know you guys need stuff." But that day that we started the hub, people from all over the island, the first truck that came was Hana with 32 generators. And we know that they need the generators. And we told them, put your guys' name on a generator because we like give them back to you guys. And they told us, we don't need the generators. We gave them to you guys for keep because we know you guys need them more than us. And I broke down with them. We all cried. Had people that were my rivals in Wailuku who came down with truckloads of stuff to give to us. And we looked at each other and said, we were rivals at one point, but right now is the time for love each other, and that's what we're doing right now. All Lahaina right now, we're all loving each other, and we're taking care of each other. Jane said Nancy would hook me up with a guy, Adam Lee from Oahu, who's been setting us tents, supplies, and all the kind of stuff that we need. And we never wait for any other county government. We took care of ourselves because that's what Lahaina does. We take care of ourselves. Because I've testified before this council before on other matters, and nothing has happened. Monster house is being built illegally. Nothing happens. I need you guys to step up right now and make things happen. The tax deferral thing for these people who need to pay their taxes, shine that. Please, get these people all the help that they need. In my heart, I feel that Lahaina can be its own county where it's our own leaders. We get some solid leaders over here. And right now, I'm furious. I'm having a hard time to speak.
3 minutes.
But I'm doing my best to keep my composure. I might be small, but when I get angry, people know me how I get. I'm not scared for scrap, and I feel like scrapping right now, but I got to hold myself. And I'm really afraid that when the tourists come, the anger going to be unleashed, not by myself, but a lot of local people here. Another part that we take care of ourselves, you know, I was able to speak with one of my friends that owned hundreds of acres on the right side of the airport of Hina. And he is already willing to share some of that land to build housing for people. We're going to show you guys, if you guys can, we need the county to fast track these permits for us to build these houses. We have houses that are very affordable. And we have, and the company comes from Oahu.
4 minutes.
The company comes from Oahu, and they want to use Lahaina people to build these houses. I know all the Lahaina people want to help to build their own houses, whether it be the people who are living there or family members. We need you guys' help, please. You know, I am, on my whole Pai side, we come from the Pi'ilani bloodline. We still have our ahupua'a in Hana. And it is I feel that it is my responsibility to help the Hawaiian people get back to their land and get back on their feet, especially in Lahaina right now.
My name is Limana Hassett. I was born on Kauai, lived in Lahaina since I was about 5. I come from Ka'awai and Kupahea families. My ancestor is buried above the L. His name was David Malo. My Ohana lived on Waine'e Street toward Waiula Church, where he once lived. On August 8th, my Makuahine was here. Yeah, was searching our street, Waine'e, relentlessly for my 77-year-old Tutuahine, who was trapped in the middle of Lahaina with no warning, way to get out, and no one to let her know what to do. I will save the details of her experience because I think we relived it a little bit too much already. But our ancestors were the ones to guide and help her keep safe while she ran away from and through the firestorm and watched our houses burn all night. Ho'olai Kabanila said earlier really well, we need to listen to our kupuna. My tutukane taught me early on that if I'm scared or lost, to call on our kupuna for guidance and help. They were the original scientists who put generations of knowledge they learned from our honua to work, which is the ahupua'a system. David Malo wrote a lot of it down in the book Hawaiian Antiquities. There's plenty of research on it from other people, and additionally, you can refer to how Lahaina used to be at its peak. So in this time of being scared and lost, like my tutukane said, we should look to those who came before us, the ancient ones. Western and foreign practices will never be sustainable in these islands. It is obviously not worked already. So I think it is mandatory to include local Hawaii conservationists and cultural and environmental professionals to utilize their expertise in the ways of the past to ensure a safe and sustainable future for Lahaina. Aloha.